G'day guys. Today I want to talk about worms, how to keep them and why they're so good to have. There is plenty of great worm farms out in the market that do a perfect job, but I had this little bin at home and I thought that'd be great for this. So first off, you want to try and keep it in the shade. And I know it's in the sun at the moment, but it is the morning sun. I've got it in a position so that after midday it's not getting any sun on it at all, because you really don't want that afternoon sun beating down and cooking your worms. So I've also insulated the bin as much as I can. It's also just got plenty of air vents inside to try and get rid of the hot air and hopefully let a bit of fresh air in. Also, worms hate the light, so I've just got a bit of old doormat that always sits on top of the soil after you put your food in. So I've put a marine access port in here so that I can get to that soil for my garden. And then underneath that I've made a floor with holes in it, so the worm wee can run down through the soil and gets collected in this bottom section here, and then I've just got a little tap so that I can collect that worm wee for the garden, and I'll talk about that soon. So feeding worms is super simple. Every time that you have dinner, you're probably likely to have some scraps, and I've just got a heap of veggies here, so just tip those in, and you want to sort of break them down as much as you can, because obviously worms have tiny little mouths, tiny little teeth. And also every time you put in any food, you want to also put in the same amount of paper or dried leaves. The reason for that is because every time you put veggies and scraps and things in, they're generally high in nitrogen, and what the paper or the dried leaves does is it actually puts carbon in it, so that balances out that nitrogen. And also you can put things like eggshells in. They're great for also balancing the pH level in the soil. They'll have things like coffee grounds or old tea bags. You want to stay away from meats and things, but basically everything that you put in here should have once been living. So obviously plenty of fruit and veg, all those things are absolutely perfect. And I guess coffee as well, it was living once, tea, anything basically like that. Just avoid processed foods because they're not good for the worms, but anything organic is just perfect for them. So you also want to keep the soil moist. You don't want it drying out. So every time I put a bit of food in, I just like to give that soil a bit of a water, and just try not to let it dry out at all. So once that water runs through, all you do, I just use a little milk bottle and just collect it for later. So obviously it's a nice rich colour. You've got all that beautiful worm wee running through. So then what you can do with this, it obviously comes out as a concentrate, and you don't want to just put that straight in your plants, but I usually put, I think the ratio is around 10 parts of water to 1 part of worm wee, and that is just absolutely fantastic for your plants. And I just put it into a watering can and just water those plants with that. So there's plenty of microbes in worm wee, great for your soil structure. Helps with water retention and also oxygen levels as well. So for your root system, absolutely fantastic, and it's free, so even better. So get yourself a worm farm, or you can build one just like I have. As I've tried to show you, they're super simple to look after, and they're great for getting rid of your scraps. You're not wasting anything, and they give back either in worm castings through their soil or also through the worm tea. So I hope you've learned a little bit about worms. They're absolutely great to have.